Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Clash of the Correspondents. My name is James, and again, for Clash of the Correspondents, Suj is not here. In fairness, he has a very good excuse. He does have a real life job, and he's stuck outside of London at the moment and can't get back in. We should have been joined for this episode focusing on United and Palace ahead of their game week 3 fixture with Gary Is My Cat playing. Unfortunately, his family's all under the weather at the moment and he's a bit gutted that he's not able to join us. But fortunately, our resident eagle at Migtavius is here with us to talk about all the positivity at Selhurst Park at the moment. Hello, Mig. How are you?
Hello, I'm feeling great. Really energised for this.
Right, mate. Talk to me about Palace and what's going on and why is the mood so downbeat at the moment?
Well, I think I should be laying on like a sofa or a lounge, and I should be paying for this sort of talk. I'll
drop you some money if you want, mate.
Oh, that's fine. I don't get paid for it. I'm not going to be against it. I'll take Suj's wages. It's not great. It kind of started. It was all upbeat at the end of the season. Final game of the season, we beat Bournemouth 5-3. It was all going up on a high, and then the sort of transfer window hit, and we weren't really getting anyone, and it was all talk about everyone leaving, and then Aaron did leave, and then it was basically just a whole bunch of months trying to keep hold of Wilf and picking up a few bits here and there, like a backup centre back who's older than our current centre backs. No replacement for the best defender we had. No replacement for a backup left back or even a goal scorer, which has been our main problem for about 4 seasons now. On deadline day, I was pretty furious when they ended the day early and thought, well, we'll go get a coffee or something and enjoy the evening. The first weekend of the game of the season against Everton was hit and miss. I mean, we could have won it. A couple of one-on-ones that didn't get put away. If we had a confident goal scorer, maybe they would have done. And we had to save a couple off the line. Otherwise, we would have been beaten quite handsomely. And then Sunday, if you had read my timeline, it was not a pleasant place to be. Probably one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. And even the players, which have joining Pogba probably getting abuse online, have come out saying that they're a bit pissed and stuff like that, which is always nice to see that they can do it on social media but not on the pitch. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, we're only 2 games into the season. It has been worse. We have gone 7 without scoring, but we're up against Man United, which we always do well in.
Easy fixture of the weekend.
Yeah, we always do well in that fixture.
Did you not take a 0-0 up there last year?
We did, but we're at home where we lost 3-1.
No, it's at Old Trafford at the weekend.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, listen, we all know that Palace are a better side away from home than at home, mate.
Well, that's what I thought on the weekend against promoted side.
I think, I saw a tweet from Van Arnholt, Mr. Doing Bits today, where he was responding to someone who was questioning the performance, and he tagged it, and he said that Sheffield United wanted it more than them.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a slight on him personally, but I don't think he should be coming out and openly saying that.
No.
That's an issue. Got to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what they were saying, because he was saying that the squad is pissed. It was like, well, it's great to be pissed afterwards when apparently you didn't want it as much as they did. I'd rather see that on the pitch. Like we kind of saw when James McCarthy came on and he got stuck into a couple of tackles and then almost had a fight with Bulldog, I think it was.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit there towards the end, but that took someone it was his debut. I mean, surely it should be the established players that are showing a bit more. I mean, Wilf was just kind of frustrated figure the whole time. It's like he didn't want to be there. Benteke is hardly ever there. I think they had one completed pass between the two of them the whole game.
Really?
Yeah, between the two of them. I mean, I know Wilf came deep to get the ball because he felt like he had to do it all. But that's probably a quite worrying thing when your 2 front players make one pass.
My biggest concern on the outside point of view, we'll kind of break down where you're at defensively and attacking at the moment. Why do you feel like Does the club never looked like they were going to spend money in the summer?
No.
Why do you think that was?
I think it's probably partly because we're putting money into doing the new main stand. That's not. I think there's been a delay for that probably till next summer now, because of problems with the council. But there's also, because we've been in administration a couple of times, the parish and his buddies and those new American owners not really wanting to shell out loads of money. We've only really invested a lot of money in like Benteke, and then new contracts for Wilf when we're giving him whatever he wants for him to stay. So it's probably more we want to keep that money so that we're not spending loads like Fulham done and then dropping back down and basically losing all our players, because we have, what was it, I think it's like we're in the top 10 of Europe for wage bills.
Yeah, there's some high earners there.
I mean,
like Benteke and that are on big wages, aren't they? Max Meyer is on a big wage, I think.
I mean, it's like ridiculous prices for a team who struggle to get 10th in the Premier League.
But then you've never really, other than the Benteke fee, you've never really splashed out on anybody.
No.
But then you've obviously got this kind of high wage structure. I think a lot of it is to do with playing in London.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's part of a catchment to entice people. Look, you're a London club, you're a forward-thinking club. You said about obviously wanting to do the main stand and stuff. I think you're right. The club has had problems with going into administration back in there. It's 10, 15 years ago here.
Yes.
A bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's forward-thinking and it feels established now. But every year, you seem to have a slow start and people start questioning. And before even the kick-off this year, whether Zaha stayed or not, there was a lot of people like myself are going, I'm a bit worried about them.
Yeah. As soon as we didn't get the reinforcements that we, in the specific areas we needed, as soon as we didn't get those, it's like, well, it's going to be another one of those seasons where we start off slow and then we'll hopefully recover that in the last 4 months or something and finish mid-table.
Are you worried you could go down?
Oh, very worried, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because the forwards we've got scored 4 goals in the last 2 seasons, and they don't go out and buy a striker. We buy someone. The only striker we get in for $2.5 million is a player who scored 2 goals last season. So those 2 goals obviously meant enough for us to actually buy him.
Where do you? The biggest weakness in the. I want to kind of finish on defensively because I feel like that's the positivity in the squad at the moment. Where do you feel? Well, how do you feel about Zaha at the moment? Do you feel the same as you felt 3-4 months ago?
I mean, I don't. He's still the best player at the team. He's still a fan favourite. We still want him to stay, and I understand him wanting to move on to a bigger club because he's capable of doing that. I mean, he's on par with players like Mahrez and stuff like that, and they're getting all the big money moves. And I can understand his frustration and not getting the dream move to Arsenal, and then seeing Pepe holding like the Côte d'Ivoire flag and stuff like that and thinking, oh, that could have been me. I'd like to think he's not like Alexis Sanchez did at Arsenal, and he will actually put his head down and perform, because he needs to not do that sort of go on strike, just underperform in every game sort of thing, because he still needs to show the big clubs that he can be professional and put in performances to get that big move. Otherwise, they're just going to look at him and go, oh, well, we don't want anything like that on our team, because he could just flip his lid and just call it in every now and then.
He's obviously like a talisman for you.
God, yeah.
If he did go in 12 months or whenever, I don't think you're realistic enough to know he's probably not going to finish his career at Palace.
Oh, no.
Is he good enough to walk into a Chelsea or an Arsenal or a Spurs?
I think so. I thought he was going to go to Arsenal and he would have gone straight into that on the right-hand side, probably with Aubameyang on the left or something like that. Spurs could be a bit more difficult, but I think probably with the likes of Lamella probably risking it. Chelsea would have walked straight into that if they could have done, and they probably would have put in an offer if they didn't have the ban. But as probably his tier, and Man United he would have walked into as well, because it would have been him and James sort of thing. I'm sure Gary would have said. But that's probably the tier he would be in. I don't think he definitely wouldn't walk into Man City or Liverpool.
When the prices for FPL were unveiled, we all kind of wanted a bit of Wilfried Zaha on the assumption that he'd probably stay reclassified, so midfielder, 7 million. I assume in the near future he's in for a drop. But do you think we can get to the stage where we'll all want him again?
I think so. I think at the moment he's lacking match fitness at the moment. He's still in that. He's probably still quite raw, not getting the move. I mean, in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully, maybe after the international break, he'll actually proper put his head down and think, right, even if it's just till January, if I just put my head down, carry this team, get them into hopefully into safety, and then maybe they'll let me go in January, or I can sign a pre-contract sort of thing with a foreign club or something like that. But I think I was always between him and Milivojevic, but as soon as he knocks up that potential that he can have, as he's had in previous seasons, I mean, I started with him last season. I can see his ownership going right up. I mean, it's at 16% already now.
Yeah.
That can soar well up past 25, something like that. I could see. He just needs to put the effort in. One
of the other players that's obviously got real ownership with you is Kelly.
Yeah.
Who is, I'm sure it's still in excess of 20%, isn't it? Even despite the Lundstrom heroics. Now, he's sitting in the team at the moment, but obviously you've got Cahill, Sacco, Tompkins, all potentially to come into that team. What would be your instinct and I obviously it doesn't particularly matter as a 4 million defender. He obviously can stay on people's bench. But do you see him having a sustained run in the team when these guys get fit?
I don't. Whenever someone's asked, I've always said I think Roy prefers him over Dan. So when they bring Cahill in, which I'm hoping will be in the next week or so, because it's just match fitness, I'd assume he would come in for Dan, and it would be Cahill and Kelly. Now, Sacco is in training. I've seen pictures today of him doing solo work in the gym. So I'm presuming he's only a couple of weeks off, maybe after the international. He will go straight back in over Kelly, no doubt, because him and Tompkins formed almost like a brick wall for us. I think they went about 14 games, something like that, unbeaten with those two as a partnership. So I can't see Roy. The only one I could see breaking up that Tompkins-Sacco would be Cahill, because Roy knows him from his England days and his experience at a top level.
Do you think if they're all fit, thinking of the balance of Sacco left-footed, do you think there's a possibility that there could be a movement to a 3 or a 5 at the back?
I was thinking, when I was trying to think of a lineup earlier on, and I saw writing on a piece of paper, I did think, would they go 3 at the back with Ward and Van Aanholt out on the wings, and then just kind of sit 2 people like Milivojevic and C.O.T.C or something like that, and then allow Wilf and maybe Townsend or RU up front. Possibly. I think he has done it in the past. I think he sat Milivojevic back there at one point. But I think it's more, he's always suited more of a 4-3-3, which does kind of allow Van Aanholt and Ward to go up the wings and drop C.O.T.C or MacArthur back. I can see him maybe experimenting with it, but I'm not too sure. There may be maybe against the big teams.
I don't think, Hodgson has notoriously mainly been a 4 at the back kind of manager, but he has moved that way at certain times. And I can see if you think, although it would be unconventional to have, say, Townsend as a right wing back.
Yeah.
As long as he's got someone very solid in the right-sided centre-half position behind him, and obviously PVA would be well suited as a wing back.
Oh God, he plays it anyway.
I think, well, yeah. I think there is scope actually. Suddenly, just looking at that, if you think of that strong back three, a couple of wing backs there, and then suddenly if you're putting Milivojevic in there, I think you're right. Perhaps a physical presence like C.O.T.C, and then suddenly you're putting Maya and Zaha in central areas with a front man, or Zaha as the front man of that. That looks a bit more exciting to me.
Oh yeah, well, anything looks more exciting at the moment. To be fair,
I'm trying to help here, mate.
it is. Yeah, if you could put this in a letter and send it to Sellers, that'd be great. But no, like it could work. I mean, if you had like Maya in behind Ayew and Zaha, if they're running around and he's just spraying passes to him, with the security of Milivojevic and C.O.T.C, who aren't bad passers themselves. It could work. I mean, it's worth trying. It's worth trying.
We've come up with a solution. I don't think
exactly.
You'll get
I'm going to
listened
write
to,
this
mate.
down.
Just before we talk about United a little bit, do speak about Max Meyer a bit if you can, because you and I both had our eye on him pre-season a bit.
Yeah. He was that pick of the 5.5s that I was really looking at, and he did impress in the first game. He could have scored if it wasn't for Coleman, I think, doing a last-minute ditch slide save. Second game, I mean, no one really performed, but he still looks confident on the ball. He's still attacking. His pass accuracy is impressive for a young lad. He's got 2 starts, which is probably the most important thing. My only doubt with him would be what they do with Camarasa. Because
of course, yeah,
he's been playing out on the left, and Camarasa has been more central. But I would assume he'd come in for MacArthur, but I think MacArthur's probably the better defensive player. So I'm not sure if they'd try and move Camarasa out on the wing, or maybe go with the 3 with Camarasa, Milivojevic and MacArthur, and then sort of drop Mayer, which I hope they don't, because he's probably the best performing player we've had so far this season.
The more you speak there, the more I feel like when they're all fit, to be honest, I'd forgotten about Camarasa. You look at the depth defensively, the depth in midfield doesn't sound so bad. And it leads me to think that further down the line, if you can get the main man's head right again, he'll go back up front, won't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he started up front against Sheffield United. He as soon as he came in, he took Ayew's place. But it's just really if he goes with 2 up top, which would be Wilf and Benteke, or if he goes back to a 4-3-3 and just has that one spearhead, that's probably always going to be Benteke with 2 faster fellas next to him.
Do you think
unfortunately,
Zaha can play that role?
I think so. I think because when we had Townsend, Zaha, and I think Ayew at one point when Benteke was out for a couple of months, and they were just rotating amongst the 3 of them, which was fine because it's just it's just like Salah, Mane, and Firmino, but sort of a more budget version. But each can play on each side, each can play through the middle. I mean, Townsend can hit it from wherever he likes. Ayew's a bit of a poacher. But if they had that sort of setup with maybe Meyer out on the left, who's not as dashing and fast when he runs, but he's crossing of the ball and through balls mainly, finding Zaha and Townsend would probably be more exciting than just lumping it up to Benteke.
I think Zaha needs freedom of movement, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The freedom to go, right, I'm going to go and play on the right for 5 minutes. Or I'm going to drop deep, come and get the ball and run at people. I think when he's least expressive is when he's rigid to having to be, right, stay on the left. I think he's too good a player to be tied down. And one of the things I keep mentioning is the opposition know how crucial he is and how he can tear them all apart in one movement.
Yeah.
And so as soon as he gets the ball, he's got 2 on. Now, the more he's got freedom to move, the more chance he's got of getting away from that and finding space. So I think as this season moves on a bit, I think we'll see Zaha move back into a centre-forward position. And I've highlighted before, and it's way off, I think Palace have got the best December of any club. Yeah. And by that point, we might be looking at a 6.7 Wilfried Zaha out of position. As a final, I hope it's not a final hurrah, mate. But
we're all really
he needs to get his head right, doesn't he? He looked like he was a fucking angry.
Yeah, it's just when he got the ball, two people swarmed him like they always do. They got the ball and he was just like, oh, well, why am I even here? Or someone didn't pass to him and he's flailing his arms around. He's very, very Ozil-esque, I'd probably say. So if it wasn't going his way, then it's like, why bother?
I think Ozil's not comparable, mate. Wilfred Zaha will work. He will run off.
Yeah, he does run around, to be fair.
Before we close up, Mig, particularly for United fans, and most of them already know what they've seen in the first two games, how good is Wan-Bissaka?
Well, he's walked straight in and he's become their best defender. Like I said, when he signed up, I was like, Man United, a couple of people said on Twitter, it's like, oh, we bought your best defender. It's like, yeah, he's yours now.
Yeah.
I mean, now they got Maguire, but he's constantly in the bonus points. He was man of the match a couple of times in pre-season, and I think in the first game as well. No, even in that game against Wolves, no one's getting down the right-hand side. I mean, he's just for 50 mil. People were saying, "Oh, it's well of a price," but he's going. If he's there for the next 7-8 years or something like that, it's going to be a bargain.
I think defensively, he's so good at one-on-one situations. I think people are actually going to begin to try and avoid him and try and overload on the other side for United. Because I referenced it on the main pod about like even Leroy Sané got no success out of him in 2 games last year. Top player. Where do you see as a neutral, not just for the weekend, but where do you see United at the moment?
I think when we done our predictions, I think I put them to get into the top 4. I think I put them at 4th. With their defensive recruitments. I mean, going forward, they've obviously excelled without Lukaku there, with the likes of Townsend. Careful, with the likes of Rashford and Martial, who's very popular at the moment. They've almost gone. I don't want to say it. They've almost gone sort of Palace-esque, where they've got that solid defence now. And then they just say to the forward youngsters, right, now counter, outpace them, and you'll be left 2-on-1 with the goalkeeper. I think they could do, well, if they don't have a better season this season, then I don't know if Ollie would last until December.
No, but it's a decent start for them. Do you own any of their players?
I don't at the moment. I did start the season with Rashford before swapping him out on the last day for some terrible moves. But then that's why I'm 2.1 mil, you know?
It's game 2 of 38. You're not going to buy any before this game, are you?
No, I've already done my transfer. Oh, no, yes, I did. I bought Greenwood.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I've done Fraser and King for De Bruyne and Greenwood.
I see what you've done there, yeah. A bit of KDB.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I had to get him in.
I've obviously got in on Anthony Martial. Can you forgive me?
Oh no, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If I had him, I'll probably captain him. To be fair.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I've got Harry, mate. I wouldn't go that far. I think United's. It's a real interesting one this weekend because I think from the outside everybody will look at it and assume that United will win, but it's a different challenge now. Playing against the side, you can see United's strength right now is going to be running at people on the break. And Palace are very, very good at not allowing that sort of counter-attack. So they're going to have to be a bit more patient at the weekend and have a little bit more craft. And I think sort of like Pogba's performance in and around that might be quite telling on the game. Yes, I would predict that United would win, as would most. But I don't think it'd be cut and dry. It's another test for United, a different one. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully... After all this thing with the guys coming out and saying, oh, you know, they wanted it more, hopefully we'll be the team who wants it more and show that we're not going to be, as I've seen on Twitter a couple of times, this season's whipping boys along with Newcastle. I mean, they need to basically cut that in the bud now, turn up, just be solid. If we can get a draw, we get a draw. I'm not expecting a win. I mean, we haven't beaten them since 1991 in the league anyway. So I'm not expecting a victory. But another solid 0-0, I'd be happy with that.
I think me and you both had air the last time you beat United.
that's true. That's true. It's a couple's gone since Sunday.
It's listen. Palace aren't going to be judged on what they do game week 3, and listen, you recovered from that awful start of the year you had 2 years ago with De Boer and that. So it's not panic stations, but again, you look at it. Go United game week 3, you go to White Hart Lane game week 5, Villa at home game week 4. Suddenly starts looking really important, doesn't it? Otherwise, you're adrift, and then you're a part of it. Well, at the start of the season, I said because of that December run, that if Palace could get in a position where they were even sort of around 13th come the end of November, then they would have a chance of pushing for top half. But I feel at the moment, like the mood around the club just feels a bit too negative to be thinking that ambitious. And unfortunately, already in the priority is to try and get out of the position that you're in currently.
Hopefully, the players have to do it on the pitch. I mean, the fans are still in the stadium; they're still cheering them on. Hopefully, anyway. So as long as if they can bring that positivity onto the pitch and just put in good performances, even if they're a loss to Man United, 2-0 loss, but if it's a better performance,
the supporters
then it's just a step towards bringing in a better performance in the teams that we will hopefully beat and progress up the table. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, mate. Much appreciated. Sorry it wasn't the 4 of us and just the 2 of us, but it gave Palace a bit more exposure in any case.
Well, there's a lot of assets to have.
Well, yeah, but I think in closing, mate, like in a few weeks, if Zaha is in the right frame of mind, we'll all be considering him.
Yeah.
Definitely. But listen, much thanks, mate, and very good luck for the weekend. Get that FPL rank up as well.
Yeah. I've taken the burden of winning off my shoulders, so now I can have fun.
Nice one, mate. Good luck. Thanks, Mig. All the best.
Cheers, you too.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.